Hey everyone. I want to touch a bit on consciousness today. I did a blog post on my website, globalheartleaders.com, and on Substack, I believed I named it Don't Fear the Cave. Because reaching a higher level of consciousness, it's not to try to identify and locate something that is outside of you or above you in any way. It's actually turning the focus inwards and listening to your true self, your inner voice. Because we all know what we want, we know what's best for us, but sometimes we get stuck in seeking external validation. And sometimes we need to reflect and think about, okay, but what do I want? A lot of people make fun of other people when they are having a midlife crisis. Me, I think a midlife crisis is absolutely fabulous because let's say you reach the age of 50 and that sounds creepy. I mean, oh my God, 50, what happened? I feel like 25 or whatever. I'm not 50 yet, so I don't know, but this is what I've been told. And for a brief moment, you realize that, oh gosh, time is flying and I am not invincible. I will not live forever. And you freak out a bit because then you start to think about, okay, so when I was younger, what was the image I had in my head of what success looks like at 50? And all of a sudden you realize that I've always wanted to have a sports car, or I've always wanted to live in Thailand or whatever, and you just have this sense of urgency to do it. And then you're finally, realizing a big dream to buy that sports car, and all your friends are like laughing at you, saying it's like a midlife crisis thing. No, it's someone waking up and following their dream. So think about that for a second. And so taking a moment and looking inwards and realizing what you want is the first step to some kind of self-fulfillment. And another way of putting it is analyzing yourself and feeling it and realizing, what type of roles do I carry? How many different tags do I have on me? Am I a sister, a mother, a daughter, a boss? Who am I to all these people? And who have I actually chosen? Have I always wanted to be a doctor, or is a doctor something that my family thought that would suit me? Or, I mean, there's so many roles that we take on. Or for me, for instance, when I was diagnosed with cancer, when I was 34, I lost the opportunity to give birth to my own children. I could not do that anymore as a side effect of what I had to go through. And that was like a big crisis because I'm a woman, right? And society says that I need to have children, and I couldn't. So that was like a really big encounter for me when I had to come to terms with something that I thought was heavily expected of me that I no longer could deliver on. and the same thing, religion could play a big role in your life. And in your religious settings, maybe you are expected to behave a certain way or take a certain role. So listening within and start understanding the roles you play and how they have affected your life is key to knowing yourself, and also a key to assess whether are you living your life the way you want it to be lived. When I got diagnosed with cancer, and it was kind of late stages, so it was a bit scary. I didn't really know exactly the outcome. So I did a due diligence on my life so far and realized, oh my gosh, I had fulfilled so many dreams. So that just filled me with so much contentment and happiness. But regardless, the things that I still had on my bucket list, I made a plan for how and when to tick them off the list gradually as the years gone by. But I don't want you to be in a crisis situation before you do that assessment. And Reaching a higher level of consciousness is not only listening within, but it's also paying attention to the world around you. And this kind of goes in tandem. You start observing the outside and start listening within, or the other way around. But the key to success here is to really pay attention to what's going on. And for some people, when you start and smell the flowers, you start to, walk past a beautiful building or a beautiful tree, and you fully take it in. You listen to the birds, maybe for the first time in ages. You're like, wow, I haven't even paid attention. The clue is to get out of your state of autopilot. And when you start paying attention, you start get filled with gratitude and appreciation of things around you. And this is what I wrote about on my blog. And I'm linking it to leadership. And then a friend of mine who read the blog commented and said, but Charlotte, this applies to more than just leadership. This is life, isn't it? Living your life, your dream, not caring so much what other people think. Making the best of it. And then when you are in your power, you have the gift, you have the strength to walk that path, and you'll be happy, and everyone around you that are associated with you will also be happy, because you radiate happiness and you have that glow. And I was just like, yes, that's exactly what it's about. And you can approach it from so many angles, but at the end of the day, stop to smell the flowers is very, very important. You can understand it in different layers as well. When you listen to me speak, you're like, yeah, kind of makes sense. And then you have all these buts. But you don't really know what it's like to walk in my shoes. But I come from this country. But I have this religion. But I'm married. I have a ton of kids. I can't just move to the Himalayas and do rock climbing. We have all these buts and ifs and whatever. Take a deep breath. Ignore the buts and ifs and whats. I'm not saying ditch your kids and move to a deserted island. But understanding it on an intellectual level is one thing. And then you see, well, you don't have to move tomorrow, but just start listening. Do you need some alone time? Do you need to be more social in order to feel good? You don't have to go on a retreat on the other side of the globe to just breathe. You can do breath work, you can do small mindfulness, exercises every day in your life. When you go to work, maybe you pass a park, sit down and smell the roses. Listen to the birds. Say some gratitude that you are alive, feeling your body. It's so easy. And then the journey, it's just like an onion, you just start peeling it. But going from understanding it on an intellectual level to all the way fully energetically embody this wisdom, now that is a journey. And for some of us, it will be a beautiful process where you realize you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You actually start showing more gratitude to relationships around you. And that's fantastic. And you just see the world with new eyes. But for some of us, it's a life-changing experience. And I was so stuck in clinging on to old identities that I had physical pain letting go of old beliefs. It was like the universe tried to strip me of all the material things for me to realize I don't need it. I even sold my Rolex a year ago because I needed to prove myself that it's just a watch, right? So I tried to detach from all these things that just I held on to because it was my identity. And I know that when I started my career, it was like, okay, I was the first ever female CEO of a professional ice hockey team in the top league in Sweden. It was like an advocate for female leadership. And people interviewed me in magazines. What is it like to be a woman in this sphere? And, they even asked me to do a public speaking gig on female leadership. I was like, I have no idea what female leadership is. I'm Charlotte. So for me, it's the individual, the work that I do. I didn't see myself as a woman. I was a CEO. You hire me and I get shit done. That was my assignment. And what I look like and or how I identify or who I'm attracted to, that doesn't matter. I was so solely focused on the mission because we are all the same. We are one people, we're one humanity, and we work together. And I know right now that we are, in a way, kind of splitting even more. We're getting more and more polarized. And back in my generation, it was like fight for equal rights, men and women. But now there's so many boxes, and people are so busy trying to label people. I know that it's a liberation process, but me, I've always respected everyone regardless. And I guess that's why I see it differently. But I want to come back to unity, where in a perfect world where everyone has equal value regardless. And that is also something that comes with this process, with being more aware, paying attention, seeing what's behind the veil, observe, question, challenge, embrace, and try to move away from fear, being in love. In a state of love, that's when you realize we don't need labels. We don't do labels. We are all beautiful, divinely people working together. So what started as some mindfulness, ending up in a world of love. But we are all on our different journeys towards this goal. And I just want to say that one of my reasons for even starting Global Heart Leaders is that I wanted it to be a global platform for people to lead from the heart. And I know the corporate world and heart, maybe not mentioned in the same sentence even, but it is important because we need to move away from fear. And I have been working in so many different environments, and some of them, the management style was management by fear. And you adapt to it. But maybe that was not the environments where we try to innovate as much, because if you took one wrong step, you got yelled at. But if you're working with AI or any new tech today, trial and error and sometimes failing is worth billions. So that's why a lot of people talk about trusting environments within the corporate world. Sorry, it's the same as being compassionate and showing love. It's just another way of explaining the same thing. When we are loved, seen, held, trusted, and and appreciated, that's when we shine, we perform, we deliver, and that is what drives growth, not just from a corporate perspective, but on a human level as well. Productivity, we've been so focused on output and productivity that we have forgotten the human side. And I am completely convinced that we can reach growth, but also flourish as humans. And that is kind of the baseline for Global Heart Leaders, and something that I want to work more with all you guys. So, as always, I never know where it ends when I start. I have some notes here. I haven't looked down once. But I just want to finish up with a nice quote from Thomas Kempis. I was actually in Oslo, and I was at the Global Peace Center, the organization that gives away the Peace Prize. And they have these like magnets that you can put on your refrigerator, and the one I chose to buy and bring home was this quote: first you bring peace within yourself, you find peace within yourself, and then you bring it to others. So I want to wish you a lovely day, an afternoon, a weekend, night, whenever you see this, and I'll catch you soon.